All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. This is Comics News Today, of course, and I am your host, Chester C. Busby III. Very, very happy to have you here. We've got a bunch of people in here chatting. That is awesome. So, thank you guys very much for being here. Do keep in mind, we've got all our links, as we always say, down below. Please check them out. But, of course, hitting that share button is really what helps us out the most, being live streamers and stuff. But just happy to have you guys here. And we're going to be getting into some interesting news today. We don't have a ton of news today, but what we have, I think, is fun. And of course, we'll be getting to that in a moment. I do see we got Dragon in here, we got Roger in here, Nick W, of course. We got Bullet. Hey, Bullet, what's up, man? We got Matthew in here. Hello, Matthew. We got Joshua, of course. Very nice. Our most favorite troll. He's actually when he comes in and does moderating, he actually does a pretty good job. Good on you, Joshua. But let's come over here and say hello to the panel we have here today, guys. Of course, we have our most favorite flightless and oiled bird, Booster.
But it's me. It's Booster. How you doing?
I'm doing really well. How are you doing over there?
Yeah. I am not well.
Really? Why? What's going on?
I actually have an oil-related story.
You do? Oh no.
I do. I don't know what possessed me, but I wanted to cook something very different for lunch today.
Uh-huh.
Because I love some good scrambled eggs, but for some reason I don't know what happened, but I had decided I would wrap it up in flour and stuff and try to deep fry it.
Yeah. Mhm.
But I don't have a deep fry. I've just got a pot and a full of boiling oil, and
Uh-huh.
didn't go very well. It didn't taste very good either.
Yeah, there is technique to that.
Yeah. So I'm not feeling too good.
You
I'm
wanted
full
a
of
deep
gross
fried
oil in my
egg?
system. Look,
Oh yeah, it's good.
don't kink shame me. All right. Don't,
Okay.
I like
Are you
I
are
like
you
deep
from
fried.
Scotland or something?
I like
no.
deep fried things. I like scrambled eggs. I wanted to deep fry my scrambled eggs. Okay.
Oh my God. First things first, Booster. What are you using? Electric top or a propane top?
Electric.
Okay, well, there's your problem. It's very
Yeah.
hard to get oil to a good temperature on an electric, an electric top. I mean, you can do it, but it's difficult.
Oh yeah, just
Propane's
like
really the
burnt.
way to go.
All the burnt crumbs got into the damn freaking oil. It burned everything. It made everything else that went in there gross. It was a nightmare, Chester.
Okay, well, if you
Bloody
have burnt
nightmare.
things, that means you're not actually doing it right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I didn't do it right at all.
yeah, yeah. Oh
Now
well.
I don't feel good. I'm making a pie.
Joshua says, "Congratulations, Booster. Rock on." I
You
also
little
see we got
shit.
Chaos Weaver. Oof, that sounds like a scary name. And Obi-Wan's in here as well. Let's move down the line. We also were joined by the chairman himself, Mr. DeWolf. How you doing, dude?
Hey, yeah, I needed to get in here and talk some comics news and stuff. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, we've got to have some fun. Now, you're not misoiling and frying stuff, are you?
I No, I'm not frying. I guess I'm boiling.
That's good. Okay. I'm assuming there's many levels of metaphoric meaning to that statement. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Glad to have you here, dude. And of course, we also have Dr. Wright with us. How you doing, Dr. Wright?
I'm great, man. How are you guys doing?
Oh, good. I'm really crazy busy, of course, but yeah, I'm having a lot of fun though. And that's
Yeah, I'm pretty busy. I mean, I'm basically project managing Insider. I've got 2 books, about 60 hours worth of work a week. It's good
yeah, there
stuff.
you go. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, no, and I've been seeing a lot of things pop up on Insider. It's starting to steam along, man. That's cool.
Yeah, I
Definitely.
mean, it's pushing things.
No,
Got to
it's
push the
good
right
though.
buttons every day. Hey, guys, come on. Got to get the whip out.
Well, that's what
Mhm,
you get
mhm.
for being project manager, right?
I know, right?
It's called responsibility. Yeah, and especially when dealing with
Yeah,
artistic, creative types, they're not very they're not very focused creatures. If you haven't
yeah. It's like
noticed,
herding cats.
yes, it is. Yes. But anyway, and of course, we are joined by the Denali Lama as usual. How you doing, Denali?
Aloha, how's everybody doing? I'm for me myself and it's raining outside like
Mm,
cats and dogs.
mm,
So that means more storms on the way. Yay.
yay.
But I also have a project called The Immortal Mask, the newsletter. You can connect to it at dinalescomics@gmail.com. I'm continuously working on it. It's looking awesome, and I hope people get connected to it as well.
Sweet. Sweet, sweet.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, actually, I got two typhoons on the way over here as well. But next week actually is because of the holiday and the scheduling stuff like that. I actually end up with a week off, which is super rare, and I'm going to be spending it doing a lot of things, I'm sure. But one of the things I'm definitely going to be doing is I'm going to be getting my uh, uh, Q1 boating license here in Japan because I'm going to be doing some more sailing. I haven't done since I was younger. So I'm going to be taking time to work on that next week, actually. So that's exciting. But it's, of course, very hot time of year to do it. But oh well, I guess it's better to be on the water being hot than it is to be on the land. But we'll see how that works out. Nevertheless, guys, we do have a lot of news to get to, so I'm just going to jump into it uh, and not kind of get on the general subject. So first thing I need to do, of course, is share here. Because one thing I'm not interested in talking about is the absolute insanity going on in politics right now. Because it's we keep saying they're crazy, but it's gone beyond that. So I don't really know where it's going to end up, but we'll see. Anyway, so I've sharing, and then here we go. So now this is our first bit of news we got today. So Denali, take it away, dude.
From Epic Stream, thanks to our good friend from Europe, Salam Sanami. He posted this one up, which is Dredd producer teases pilot for for a TV series called Judge Dredd Mega City 1 for Amazon.
Yeah, now we've
So,
talked about this before. This is not new news to us here. They've been talking about doing this for a while. And they had actually talked about Carl Urban being involved in it, and he said he's interested. It looks like that we might end up not having him by looking at this article, but then again, this article isn't super informative. But we've been talking about this for I don't know 8 months, I think, dude.
I mean, we may not have him because of a little show called The Boys, but
The
That's
boys.
true. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And of course, we didn't get a chance to talk about the boys on Monday because the typhoon knocked me out. But we're going to talk about it a little bit today. I want to
I'd
get
love
through the
to.
news stuff first, but I guess just to the panel and of course to the chat, what do you guys think about getting a Mega City 1, having a TV series set into that universe? I personally think it'd be a lot of fun. A matter of fact, I don't know if we need to focus so solely on Dredd anyway, because obviously he needs to be there. But I think you could just do something more about the judges in general. I think would be a lot of fun. They won't do that, but I don't know. What do you think about this, DeWolf? Do you like the Dread books, the 2000 AD stuff coming out of Britain?
Yeah, sure. Give us more Dread. It's a fun world. It sure
It
is.
Yeah.
It's interesting to watch. The movie has its things. That are a little bit. Let's just say it's not for kids.
Oh no,
So
no.
obviously you'd have to dial it. I think it's best to sort of dial it back, a little bit for a broader audience, and then you run with it.
Well, it's an option. You could go that route and do kind of a more family-friendly cyberpunk. That sounds kind of a
No!
strange thing to
No,
say,
none
Dial
but
it
of
up,
that.
boys.
I'm
Dial it
Not
up.
family.
kind of with a
No, not
booster.
family friendly.
I
Just
want limbs
not as
blasting
extreme.
off. I want their faces
Yeah,
to
I'm kind of
and
I'm kind of on.
splattering everywhere.
Yeah, I
I
agree
want
with
more
Booster.
slow mo, people's cheeks blasted away. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd go NC-17 to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd go 100%. But I get what you're saying though, and who knows what they'll do. This is, I believe, if I remember from the article, it said Amazon, right?
that's correct.
Yeah, it's Amazon, right? So
Mhm.
we kind of know where the line is with Amazon. I think the boys, which is referenced several times in here, of course, because of Carl Urban, the boys shows us their line. So they're not
It doesn't
willing.
go.
It was, and it was adult for sure. There wasn't really a lot of sexuality and nudity and stuff in there, which is fine by me. Other
Unless
than
it's
men,
dongers.
unless it's men.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it's all. We're not going to show you any naked women anymore. You get the naked men. I guess the
I think
ladies
there
don't
was
like
like one pair of titties in the first episode, and that was about it.
it. It was
Then we got some
it was
dongers.
way in the background, right?
Oh yeah,
But
it's brutal.
I don't care about that anyway. Some people do, but
Huh,
for
huh.
me, I want we see the line, and I think the line is fine. I thought that was fine. It's nowhere near as brutal as the book, but I thought it was a good balance. I had no trouble with that. But we'll save that for later, though, because I want to. At the end of the show, we'll spend the rest of the show just talking about the boys. But yeah, anybody got any other comments? I think it's cool.
I like Dredd. I like the bits getting blasted off. I thought it was fun.
Yeah, I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big Judge Dredd fan actually, and I love what Carl Urban did. I really would rather see him doing this than the boys. Although to be fair, he did Billy Butcher really well.
He has. He has done our boy Butcher a lot of justice.
He did, yeah. So, but yeah, we'll see. Anyway, all right, let's move down then. This I think is one of those. You know how sometimes when you hear a university is doing some kind of study, and it's a study about do people like chocolate or not? You know, and they want to create statistical numbers on the percentage of humans liking chocolate, and it's like you do realize that you don't need a study for that because everybody likes chocolate. Right? But they do those kind of things all the time, right? So universities are always doing studies on stuff that's obvious. We already know the answer to. But
Mhm.
this right here is another kind of article that fits in that, as far as I'm concerned. Go ahead, Dinale.
All right, from the Hollywood Reporter, China is the #1 international market for European
China.
film. China.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, they can blame China for the movie failing or succeeding now. It's not,
Yeah.
it's not the domestic box office, no longer. You guys don't matter. Only China matters.
Well,
Other China. Other China.
Well, it's kind of you do a pretty good drum, but the interesting thing about this, of course, they're specifically talking about European films. They're not talking about American films, right? And of course, America's never been a great consumer of European films anyway, because they're European. But
Oh, yeah.
and here over in Asia, sure, there's plenty of people watch the Hollywood blockbuster, but Chinese, they'd much rather watch a European film than an American film simply because of politics because China, hates America, right? So they don't want the people. They don't want to watch an American thing unless they feel they have no choice but to watch it. So this isn't shocking at all. This is like such an obvious statement from my point of view. But then again, I don't know. Who makes good European films? Let's see. The German films occasionally. There's a vampire one that came out of there. It was pretty good. The French make good movie every now and then. Britain can
The
put
Dutch
some.
make some good movies.
They
Oh, come
do.
on.
Yeah. Some of the Scandinavian TV shows are pretty good. I don't know. There's
Nope,
not.
not yet.
It's not bad. What
Well,
do you
one-
think, DeWolf?
Oh, Poland does, of course.
God, here we go. I think I fixed my mic problem model. Thank you for telling me. But yeah, name a single Polish film.
I swear to God, Chester, if this goes into another bloody Jew rant.
Oh,
Why would it have anything to do with Jews? What are you talking about? I'm sure there are plenty of good Polish movies and TV shows. I just don't know any. I do know that of course, The Witcher is from Poland and it's being absolutely raped by HBO. But I guess that's a different conversation.
Because of America.
Netflix.
Hmm?
That's
Netflix.
a,
Is it Netflix? I thought it was HBO.
Netflix.
no,
Yeah, it's
Netflix has
Netflix.
got Witcher. They're destroying
Yeah,
it
it's
because they're
Brutal what they're
woke
doing.
all get out and being stupid.
Netflix is suiciding themselves. This is true. But yeah, I don't know. This is fine. China has certainly become a market. More people have more money to spend. Of course, the shocking thing about China is the
China.
the vast majority of China is dirt poor third world people. But they've gotten themselves a few dozen
But when you
million
have,
peoples
you
that
know,
have money now. So.
yeah, when you have a ridiculous amount of people, if only 10% have money, that's still more than America.
Well, not necessarily. I don't. I'm not going to get into it now because it would be a long conversation. But the numbers that China puts out for their population are nowhere near accurate. But then again, China lies about every single solitary thing, so that's not shocking. India is probably the largest population on the planet, but like I said, that would take a long time to explain. But it doesn't really matter anyway. Keep making those movies specifically for China, and everyone will love it. I'm sure.
We're getting heckled, Chester. Nick W says boring. Next topic.
All right, fine. Fine. All right. How about this? This is exciting.
From
Oh.
Variety, Event Horizon series is in development at Amazon. We'll see how it goes, or it'll get canceled like Conan.
Well, yeah, no, that's unfortunate what happened to Conan because it sounds like they were doing something fun with that. But I really enjoy the Event Horizon movie, even though it was nowhere, it did not become what it was supposed to become. It's one of those movies that got butchered on the cutting room floor because of, bureaucratic nonsense going on in the company.
Oh yeah. It
Uh,
had some ultra violence going on. There's some really
Yeah.
disgusting depictions of hell.
Yeah, and it's
But
too
it
bad
all
we'll
got
never see.
cut.
Yeah, we'll never see it, right?
Mhm.
It's kind of like that movie Life Force, which in general I liked, but there was a lot of stuff that was cut out of that probably would have been fun. But that's aside. Amazon, which we know their line, is talking about Event Horizon, and I'm kind of curious if they can do any justice with it because it's now you talk about brutality. I mean, that is high end, I don't know, but
Isn't
I'd
that
love
like
to see
space
it.
Cthulhu kind of thing?
It is Cthulhu-esque in a way, yeah. Yeah. But I loved it. I thought it was fun, and it is very graphic, and there's a lot of metaphor and meaning to it. But that's okay. I like that. But this kind of sounds interesting, dude. I wouldn't mind seeing it. Um, unfortunately, these kind of things about speculation of stuff that's coming doesn't mean anything. But then again, we talked about The Boys for quite a while, and now we have it, which we can talk about more clearly. But yeah, I think it's cool. Anybody have any comments on that before we move on?
Well, if it passes their censorship of, is this cool enough, or it could be clucked enough, then we'll see the light of day. If
Yeah.
not, it'll go the way of Conan.
Yeah, it's unfortunate about that. But Nick W says, Life Force? Oh, Chester, why? Dude, Life Force is a really good movie, actually. It's a very solid flick. If you haven't seen it, you should go check it out. And yes, there is a girl who's naked the entire movie, but I'm not complaining. Okay?
It
And it
sounds like
has
my kind of movie.
Patrick Stewart in it as well.
Oh, Patrick
And
Stewart.
he gets possessed by a female vampire. So we get female Picard. It's pretty interesting, actually.
Was it
I'm
Vampires in
googling.
Space?
Yeah, no, it is. It's Vampires in Space. Yeah, it's a pretty cool
I
movie,
thought they
dude.
were already working on a female Picard.
Bob
point,
says, I don't think you could do a
basically.
sustained series of Event Horizon one season and done. Yeah, I don't know. But then again, that would be kind of cool, right? If we just get one season, like 8 or 10 episodes that tell the story in a more detailed way than they were able to do in the movie, I would be fine with that. Life Force was a great concept. It's a good movie. All right.
But they won't do that because of, it's not in their best interest to do one season. Because of
No,
money.
Her
that's true.
nipples are too big.
How dare you, sir? That's Gore. Anyway, let's move on here. Now, this story has a little bit of conversation to it, I think. Go ahead, Dinale.
All right, from Bleeding Cool, Dan Didio sees DC with a widely diverse lines of comics for a widely diverse audience. Part of the San Diego Comic-Con panel that he was part of, saying that he's admitting false that one of the reasons why sales are declining is because they're not producing good stories. Because he says a lot of people want the old stuff, reprints of exact reprints of the old stuff and old stories. And I think one of this is a conversation, is a talking point, because there's been articles saying that because of the recent merger with AT&T are looking at all of Time Warner's and Warner Media's products, and they see DC as a brand only, meaning that his line and the rest of the people's line are in the balance right now.
Well, that's not the problem is that, like, the issue that's going on. I talked to Rob Stalkowitz about this the other day, the guy who wrote the Forbes article, and he and I had a little bit of a conversation. And basically what's going on is that DC was stupid, and they were either legally or fiscally incompetent, didn't get their lawyers in to get their rights handled correctly, and they don't have anybody at the table at AT&T. So if AT&T wants them to be a lifestyle brand, they're going to be one, and this guy doesn't have any choice.
Right. Which means that they're now a brand name only company, meaning that as far as AT&T is concerned, because this is a communication business, they could really sell off all of the DC's
They don't want to do that.
character.
That's not what AT&T wants. AT&T's already said what they want. They pushed it at the con by having them involved, but telling them what they were going to do. They want to do the same thing that Marvel's doing. They want to become a lifestyle brand. A lifestyle brand isn't a household name. It's not, something that's well known. It's a marketing term. What it means is that they're creating a company that tells people how to live. And they want to do that because if you tell somebody how to live, you can tell them what to buy.
Right, but once
Yeah.
they see how Watchmen and all these other property continue failing, the bean counters at AT&T will say cut it loose because that's what
Dude,
they
you're
are.
talking multi-billion-dollar. They're like in the top 10 international conglomerates in the world. And this comic company is an IP farm with trademarks worth billions in merchandise, much more than the comic books. They're not going to cut it loose.
You would be surprised. You would be surprised of what companies will or not do. So, I
They
would
might
just
stop publishing comics, but they won't cut DC.
No, they
they'll
won't.
keep
They
it.
won't.
They'll
Yeah,
keep
they'll
the
keep
brand.
it.
They'll keep. But I'm talking about the IP. They can sell the IP individual by piecemeal if they wanted to, and that's a fact.
They could, but I don't think they'll do that either, because then you're diminishing the brand and the capability that you have. I mean, from what I'm seeing, from what they're doing, what they're probably going to do is marry the DC comics with AT&T in some way. It wouldn't surprise me if obviously if they, well, they have, or doesn't AT&T have like with Uverse their own streaming thing?
Right. So, it's part of that growing pain, and that's what they're doing right now is trimming a lot of the fat. So you're going to see a lot of more restructuring happening with DC.
Probably what's kind of sad is that because of their complete failure in the past 5 years, that's why they didn't have anybody at the table. Because AT&T because basically what that says is they didn't have the money to buy in.
Right.
Yeah.
Which we kind of pointed out on numerous occasions as well.
And here's the thing about what you guys were talking about as far as lifestyle brand and all that, first off, and that is the fact that 10 years from now, it's going to be all different anyway. Millennials will get older and their influence is going to wane away. I mean, their influence anyway is kind of waning just due to the fact that they got to get up and do something. So then you have the Gen Z, though. The Gen Z, next generation, they are looking more at the world like it's gone crazy,
which it
and that
has.
they're going to do something, and they like freedom. They like the idea that because and it happens all the time, right? The previous generation, one generation does something great, the next generation turns around, and when they try to get all this stuff or just success, somehow it turns out wrong, and then the next one turns around and says, "You guys screwed it up." So Gen Z, that's where Gen Z is going to be going. They're going to be the new guys looking back and saying, "You guys screwed this up." And so lifestyle branding will go away because I don't care if you're going to try to change my mind and tell me how to live and tell me what to buy. No.
Yeah.
And so then as far as Dan here, Dan, you're out of touch, because if you think that that's what that this is what people want, and the fact that these stories, we want all these old stories, and we want those to come back and such. That's not what we've been saying. Listen to people, listen to us, and we will tell you, give us a new story. Advance the story from where it's at. Take Batman, make him old. Take the next guy, advance them forward. Something else, pass on the mantle. You don't have to change. And if you are going to be diversity, if you are going to change the diversity according to the diversity of the audience, then you'll have to dial it back a little bit and not have so much of these lifestyle changes, because the population isn't that is as much as you think it is, or at least the way I see it going.
Yeah. And also
I think
keep
I'm
in
done.
mind the extreme backlash that we always see when we see political movements like this. That Generation Z that DeWolf's talking about is actually quite conservative. And
Yeah.
things are going to rubber band back hardcore and fast in the next, I don't know, I'd say less than 10 years, actually. I'd say within the next 5 years.
Well, it's probably because their parents are trying to turn them trans against their will.
Or what have you. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Stop putting that blue dye on my hair.
Speaking
Like, you
about deplorables, I have a
you-
very fun trailer if you want to look at it, Chester.
Oh, no. You know what happened last time you shared a trailer?
Yeah, I found one that might be even worse. I put it in the Facebook chat if you'd like to have a look at it.
All right, fine. Give me a second, though, because I do have an opinion on this as well. That information everyone was giving you about AT&T, the very specifics of it, it's interesting and it's important. But I saw something else in this article I thought was interesting. Just let me give a read the first couple paragraphs here. Dan Didio looks to have had a fun time playing with his Kong doll at San Diego Comic-Con. If he didn't see the convention from a distance and position his monster close to his face and pretend that it was stomping the convention center, then it was a wasted opportunity. But he did talk to Collider about his plans for the company, which some unkind people I know consider it to be similar to a Kong terrorizing Burbank and their childhoods crushed under his big feet. But that's comics for you. Now, those two paragraphs are pretty interesting if you look at it. First of all, he has the idea that crushing people underfoot who are your customers to be a fun thing to do. And also the complete dismissal of anyone who questions anything here by the article. It's this kind of thinking, right? I mean, first of all, one of the things that's killed me over these past few years, and I never get it, even though I guess I get it, is the absolute disrespect and the attack upon your customer. These are your customers, but yet they look at their customers as if they're underfoot. And this is a very strange concept for business. You know what I mean? This is not how
You're
business
genius.
operates.
This is how liberal business operates because they think you should just buy whatever they put out.
It's true.
What they put out is perfect, and it's your fault that it's like that, that
Yes.
you don't like it.
That
I mean,
is
you
true.
listen to like Tom King talk about his work, and he thinks it's, he doesn't want to take any criticism. He doesn't accept any criticism.
Mhm.
He's smug about any of it, and basically he's a genius, and you're stupid.
That's right. And
Yeah,
this is
you have a
troublesome.
moral obligation to buy their product.
That's right. Yeah. March Hare is here, and he says, "Hey, all." I said, "Well, hello to you, March Hare. Nice to have you in here." Rich Johnson is one of the worst writers commentaries in the history, in the industry. Yeah, we know that, dude. We know all about Mr. Johnson and his ideas. But anyway, let me go over here and see what Booster's on about. I guess someone tells me wants me to watch the Jojo Rabbit trailer. All right, here we go. Oh God. Oh no. All right, fine. Let me turn it on here.
Hey there.
Tell me when you figure out what it's about.
What state is this?
What state is this? All right, we're coming into a countryside little cafe. There's probably a gas pump sitting out for, not cafe, store. There's probably a gas pump sitting outside. This is the beginning to every damn slasher movie ever made, or Deliverance. But I'm sure there's gonna be a twist.
Sorry. You don't understand the question?
Oh, no, I didn't. Most people know where they are.
Why ain't most people?
It's the women they're hunting,
Glorious state of
probably.
Arkansas, sweetheart.
Yep. Oh, gee, that was hard to figure out.
How'd you know they was lying?
Well, this ain't Arkansas, so
Well, this ain't Arkansas, so. All right.
everyone is lying.
Everyone is lying. All right.
Your
So
idea
unless you live in
is
Arkansas,
incredible.
you're a liar, huh? All right. Hold on a second.
I can't argue with that. We pay for everything. So this country belongs to us.
Oh, rich people.
It's just business. Hunting human beings for sport.
Okay. We've
They're
seen
not
many movies
human
like this.
beings.
I mean, ultimately, Hostel is all about this, right? And we've seen other movies too.
Every year, a bunch of elites kidnap normal folk like us. Where'd they get you from?
Wyoming.
Mississippi.
Orlando.
and hunt us for sport. Hurry, hurry, hurry up.
So it's true.
We're being hunted.
Okay.
Hey, one of them get away.
What?
One of them got away. One of them.
What's happening?
Wait,
Put him in the back with the rest.
Yeah, DeWolf?
so is it that they're all Christians, and unless they conform to debauchery, then they got to be hunted down and killed?
Probably. I'm sure that's exactly it.
Okay.
They're Trump voters.
Probably. Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
this is actually a movie about liberal elite hunting down Trump voters for sport. That's actually what the concept is. This is co-written by Damon Lindelof, whatever you pronounce that name, the guy who is doing Watchmen right now.
You're kidding me. That's the actual
I was making
premise?
a joke.
Yes.
I thought I was making a joke.
Holy crap. See what the world's come to, and I really want to stay away from the politic of the day because it's really gotten hairy out there.
But if you switched that, people would lose their minds.
Yeah. But this is
All right, keep
this
going.
is a power fantasy for Trump derangement syndrome weirdos.
I mean, so is Purge.
Yeah, it is. You're right. Yeah. A lot of it is, and it's getting worse. I mean, we actually have politicians calling out for the murder of people now. Actual politicians. Pretty interesting. Oh, a
We're not getting
song.
into politics.
Now they can't see us.
You just told them we're here.
What was that?
I think that was a rifle.
Oh, it's that dude.
Come on, everybody get out of here!
So it's got a little bit of Hunger Games in it as well. Interesting. I have noticed an interesting thing here, though. Everyone involved in this movie is white.
Jesus, come on.
Who are these people?
Haven't you seen the Trump rallies?
Get away with this.
There's no black behind.
Yeah, but I mean,
It's a dangerous game hunting Trump supporters.
it actually would be an extremely dangerous thing to do. But no, I would kind of if you're making a political statement, I would expect that the
dangerous thing.
hunters would be, non-whites, right?
Oh yeah.
No idea what you're up against.
Yeah, come on, you couldn't see that? I can see that. What the hell's wrong with you?
They're playing you.
They don't want to
Those are
implicate
the pieces.
the other races.
We'll see.
I see.
Of all the people you kidnapped,
See, only white people are bad.
of all the people
There is
you killed,
only white people here.
you picked the wrong
It's
game.
interesting.
Lady,
All the
you're
white
crazy.
people, they're bad.
I feel like this movie's made to go, yeah, see, we're on your side, but it's just going to piss off everyone.
I kind of want, like, all these people that are like, white people are bad. I wonder what they would think if they went to actual, like Iceland or Poland.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw a pig in there. So is the pig Caesar
Probably.
because he, back to Animal Farm, and he's actually in charge of everything?
Goodness gracious. Yeah. Bullet says, don't you mean Battle Royale, Chester? Now, I'm assuming you talk about the Japanese movie, and that's actually a fun movie. I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. They shelved it for the moment because of the recent mass shootings. Oh, did they? But the thing is, by watching that trailer, I would have not gotten the impression immediately of what Booster is telling us the movie's premise is. Actually, it just looks like rich people hunting poor people that are easy to collect. Huh?
It looks like Purge, but in the woods.
Yeah.
Comic book Bob says that Booster's right.
Wow.
That's what it is.
I love being told I'm right.
I can't believe it would be about that still.
Yeah, no, I'm a bit shocked too. But dude, just look at the temperature of things that are going on politically in the country right now. I mean, it's really, really out there. It's you have politicians on the left who are openly saying some things that are not only criminal statements, they're also terroristic in their way, but they're also treasonous, dude. We have actual treasonous politicians in our country right now, yeah, it's a problem, dude. And it's gone beyond being cute, how stupid they are, to something that's going to eventually have to be done. March here said, I love Battle Royale. It's a fun movie, dude. It is. But that was depressing, Booster. Goodness gracious.
I don't think they're literally going to be called Trump supporters in the movie, but it's clearly allegorious.
Allegoric.
It's an allegory.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, or allegorical. But what is this
Alamogorical.
booster? No, sorry,
Allegorical.
Denali. Let's let Denali. Yeah, sorry.
I don't know.
And CBS exec confirmed everything that we've been talking about. That Picard will be STD'd, or he has STDs. Yeah,
He does have
There you
lots of STDs, I'm sure. But CBS. Now, this is we've been talking about this forever. Everyone's been talking about this. We all knew what Picard was going to be because on day one, when Picard himself was standing on a stage talking about it, he said that something needs to be done about the conservative people in the world, and he needs to stand up and make a statement for what's right. Right? That's
Mhm.
what he said. So he's all about this SJW, progressive thinking. He's got to teach us a lesson. It's his responsibility, he said. So this is not shocking. He said that's what he was intending to do, and was under stipulation for him returning to do. So of course this is going to be just an absolute SJW train wreck, just like Discovery was. And of course the thing that's bothersome to me, and of course we're going to get into the boys here really in a moment, is most of the time, even though they're being ultra political, the real big problem is when their writing is really bad. They're not good at making stuff. When you come into people who are good at making stuff, that's where you get the boys, and the boys is troublesome all unto itself. And space herpes, yeah, exactly.
Don't mix your STDs. Yes.
Don't mix them, yeah. Comic Book Bob says, yeah, it was hard for me to admit that, man. It hurt my soul to agree with anything Booster says, but yeah, when you're right, I see.
It's all the time. What are you talking about?
No, Mrs. Thundera
All the
says,
time I'm right.
so they are trying to make a movie where leftists hunt Republicans. They have no idea. This is going to backfire horribly. They always do, dude. They
Well,
really, truly
come
have
on.
no idea how sympathy works. Please make this movie. Yeah, and of course, the ironic thing of it, if it actually came down to that, they would be the ones in trouble, actually.
Which is kind of ironic because the lefts are doing gun control, so they wouldn't even have the guns to hunt them down in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Logically thinking.
Yes.
But
Well, the chat seems to be all about space harlots and space herpes. Rock on, guys.
That's not true.
It's not true. Space herpes does not come from space harlots. I would say it is true.
Well, it kind of it really doesn't. They have a lot of testing.
Oh, they do
by regulation
That's
and
true.
licenses.
That's true. Yeah.
But I mean about the leftists, because they always have to enforce non-guns with a bunch of guns.
Well, of course.
I digress.
Of course, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, they love to invoke Nazis and Hitler, and of course, what's the very first thing Hitler did? Ban the guns, right? Right.
But, and then about Star Trek and Picard here, we could always go back to the social norm breaking original Star Trek and the writing that they had.
Yeah, no, that's political commentary done right, though. The original series from Roddenberry was absolutely a political allegory about what was going on in the world. Most certainly was, but it was done right. Yeah, it isn't saying do this or die. It's saying this is the world that we would prefer to see. It was
yeah. Like we would have preferred to see like Data dancing through the halls with a rapier in an episode, a la Sulu. I digress. Never mind.
That was a great episode, though. Let's see. Thundera says the SJW stuff is less troublesome than the rewriting of the Klingons and outright destruction of the myth. That's my point. It's not just the political stuff; it's the horrible writing and production of it. Eric Hawkins says Space Harlots have a ticket to ride. Let's see if Chester gets that reference. Well, Ticket to Ride, is that that dude from Eagles song? I think it is.
Uh-huh.
I know this is...
the other good Star Trek that was almost a really good Star Trek was Enterprise.
I loved Enterprise, yeah.
it didn't start off quite right, and the advancement of the technology seemed a little bit too much. But I'll tell you what, by the end of the series, it left off at a point where they could have actually moved, forward a little bit and made another series that started bridging the gap towards how things became sort of Star Trek. And I think done right, I think you would have turned out with a really excellent series, but instead, they shot forward and they missed.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I don't have any faith in this whatsoever. Star Trek is on its heels, hardcore, just like everything else is right now. And it's really unfortunate. I mean, we're getting a third season of Discovery simply because of pride, I would say. Kurtzman is certainly no longer part of the Picard project, but his fingerprints are all over it. At least season one is going to have Kurtzman all over it, which is just a very disgusting thought unto itself, because that dude is an absolute fun sink. He's not good at what he does, and once again, it's another figure working in Hollywood that I don't understand how they have a job, because they're not good at what they do. It's like Natalie Portman, not good at what she does, but she gets opportunity left and right. And this has been documented very well over the past so many years. How many people fail up, right? Like we have the Zoe Quinn. She came out, and I actually reviewed that book on Pensive Life channel. It wasn't bad, hardly written. It was a fine book. It was nothing wrong with it. But of course, it was full of politics, which no one wants. Therefore, no one bought it, and it failed miserably. So what do? They give her another book, The Addams Family. So she fails up. This is just an example, and there's hundreds of them. We all know this. But Kurtzman is another example. This guy is not good at what he does, but yet he keeps getting opportunity. So it is what it is. Babylon 5 is the best Star Trek. I like Babylon 5 too, but they don't mix, dude. They're not the same thing for sure. But anyway, anybody have anything else to say about this before we move on?
I'm pretty sure there's an argument between that, since there's a lot of evidence and discussion and conversation about Babylon 5 stories and storyline being copied by Deep Space Nine, etc., on that.
Maybe there's possibility there with Deep Space Nine, I suppose. But then again, Deep Space Nine was a fun show as well. It's very different. It's not your classic Star Trek really. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Babylon 5 too. Now, to be fair though, Deep Space Nine started off great, episode 1. And it went forward really strongly. Where Babylon 1, I would say, took 3 seasons to really get its feet. Now, I liked Babylon 5 a lot, though, but that took time to get its feet under it. And I'm happy that I think that was a Fox project, maybe. I'm happy that they allowed it to continue, because these days they have no patience for anything at all. Because the Babylon was great when it got going, but nah, I'm sure there's probably some truth to it. And of course, then Dave has to bring up Space 1999. Yo, that's true. That is true. Good point. But I love that show too. Of course, no one knows that one hardly anymore.
Ice Pirates, what?
Ice Pirates is good too.
Okay. Yeah. I think we're done. We're done. We are done.
Moving on.
We are definitely done. No, we are. I was just checking out the Voyages of the Space Harlots. I think I'm going to have to write that. We're going to have to write that. What is this, Dinale?
Oh, Todd McFarlane is open to the Image United project, the crossover that they've been promising for decades and decades and decades ago. It's a little bit too late, Todd. Don't do it, Todd.
I would say so. Yeah.
Who cares anymore?
No one cares.
Not only that,
yeah.
you guys don't even have the licenses of their own product anymore.
He's open to it.
It's dead, Todd. Let it sleep, Todd.
Yeah, but
let it rest.
Angela's in Marvel, right?
Uh-huh.
Was it Youngbloods owned by God knows who? Rip Media or something?
Well, the thing that actually came to my mind, because guys know that sometimes we'll actually talk about the story that's being written, but a lot of times for me, it's simply the what comes to mind from the headline. What popped into my head with this more so than the body or the point that they really couldn't do it very easily anyway, is the fact that Todd McFarlane constantly says he's got to do this or that. How many decades has he been saying, I'm doing this, or Spawn, I'm doing it, and it never, never, never transpires. It's just like, shut up, Todd. Just shut
Is
up.
he an artist?
He is
I
an
mean, I
artist.
think he just likes to stay
Oh.
in the stay somewhat culturally relevant,
Yeah,
Because I mean,
maybe.
he's I don't know how much money he's worth, but I mean, he owns the toy company, which probably makes more than all of these comic companies.
Yeah, no. He's
So
certainly done well for himself, and kudos to him for that. I mean, he had a lot of success. Spawn was cool. I'm totally happy with all that, but I'm sick of hearing Todd McFarlane say he's going to make something. I mean, he's just been doing this forever, dude. It's just shut up, dude.
It's this Todd. It's Todd Howard. Can't stop telling lies. It's our Todd in here. It's just been Todd.
$373 million. That's what he's worth.
Cool. Good for him, dude. But
There's the bully on Beavis and Butthead. He was a Todd.
He was a Todd. Todds are troublesome. You got to watch out for the Todds.
Gotta watch out. Todds will get you.
Yeah.
Todd. I like that. It's fun to say Todd.
Todd. Yeah,
Todd.
I know. The definition of the team vanity, the term a vanity project. Yeah, I know, of course. Thundero says, I'll put up TNG's last episode up against any season finale. It was great. The Next Generation did end well. And I agree with your comment earlier about DS9 as well. That was a really good show. It was very solid. Comic Book Bob says, I would be down for something like a new Spawn Witchblade book. Yeah, sure. I'd be down for anything. It's just like if you keep saying he's going to do something, so do something. That's what I'm saying. Whatever. Yeah, he only does covers. Yeah, you're right. That's right, Comic Book Bob. Did any of you pay $3 million for a baseball? I don't think so. No. Yeah, right. But then again, I don't like baseball. I like Voyager. Voyager was fun too, DeWolf. I like. It's not my favorite Star Trek, but I thought it was pretty solid.
You're gonna stir up Mr. Thundaro.
He doesn't like Voyager. I don't know. I liked it. It's not my favorite at all. But I enjoyed it. Chakotay was a pretty cool character.
Don't look back.
You really?
No rearview mirror. Only go forward.
All right, fine. I can't talk about Voyager. This is too bad. We got 7 and 9 from that. We got Chakotay from it. We got Taurus. We got a black Vulcan, which I didn't know they were black Vulcans, but we got one. And he was Tuvok. He was pretty cool, actually. I liked Voyager. Yeah.
Well, Tuvok was in one of the movies as well.
Yeah.
Of the original series. I can't remember which one, but he was in that one.
My favorite Star Trek series of all time, though, is Enterprise, even more than the original series. The Enterprise is my favorite. I thought that really captured the feel of what they were supposed to be at the time. I liked it a lot. But I think they all have good points. Dragon says Chakotay is the crappiest character in Star Trek. Okay, I guess he became less interesting. In the beginning, he was very interesting. He was like a rebel fighter, and Voyager was trash. Everyone seemed to okay. Well, there you go. You're right, DeWolf. Huh?
They don't like Voyager.
I see. I told you don't do it. Just break off that rear view mirror and go.
Move on. We got to move on.
All right, Dinale, come on now.
All right,
let's escape it.
So, yep. All right, from Superhero Hype, Andy Serkis is confirmed to be the director for Venom 2. And he's teasing what he's planning to do with this Venom.
And what is he teasing?
He's going to be the Venom.
He's going to be Venom. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Obviously, the movie is still pre-production, still early review, offering a few soundbites. The first film didn't fare well. No, it didn't with critics when it hit theater last October. However, Serkis is confident that the next installment will be something special. Writer Kelly Marcel is still finalizing the movie screenplay, which apparently features extra contributions from Tom Hardy himself. That doesn't help me at all. It's a fantastic franchise. I'm honored to be asked to direct it, says Serkis. It feels like a very contemporary story, and I think, hopefully, that is going to be an extraordinary piece of cinema. Well, you go at it, dude. I hope you have success, man.
They don't get it. They don't get it. They look at this right here. This is exactly. They look at Venom. They see the visage. They know the popularity, and they say, "We're going to make a movie about that." And the problem is that they never get into the actual character of Venom. And you got go back to the origin. You got to establish a good foundation and a character base for the fans to actually get to know them, and so we can identify with. Well, that's kind of hard to identify with, but you can identify with what the character is in such, right? And
well,
so that's the problem. We haven't done that yet.
well, they did identify the Venom character, and they identified him as cucked and loser. Yeah.
Right. They identified it. They did it wrong. But yes, you
Yeah, they
have to
did.
go to the beginning. You have to go back to, of course, Spider-Man. And then you have to include this parasitic thing that just sort of builds in there a little bit. I mean, you could do a whole movie of just where the symbiote is inside, barely doing anything. And then you could do a Venom movie where it then comes out the next time. And then, of course, once that comes out, you've got the whole extra thing where the symbiote is now upset, right? It's sad and it's mad and it's hurt, and then it's got to strike back again. That's what they're missing in all this.
And also the CG was very poor.
Yeah. Basically, Venom is a jilted ex-lover. Yep, gotcha, the wolf.
That's what he is. Yeah. Well, that's what they did with him. And of course, Tom Hardy's character is completely cucked out as well. And I said this before. That movie, it's very clear to see.
Or Bendis.
Right. But it was very clear to see in that Tom Hardy didn't understand the character. But because it was Tom Hardy, no one on set went to say, yeah, Mr. Hardy, this is not the character. You need to do something else. No one bothered to tell him because he just went forward with what he had in mind, and it was completely wrong. That movie was an absolute debacle. Maybe Circus can fix it. I don't know.
If you did Venom correctly like that, where there was an emotional base, and you could almost understand, like Dinale said, right? Oh, so it's a jilted lover, right? You can understand that. You can get that. Venom's now being cheated on, right? So what that leads to is, with that much depth, who, of course, is the next character that would come onto the scene that would just absolutely make a crazy movie? From that, of course, is Carnage.
Yeah, which they teased at the end with Woody Harrelson, right? So
yeah, but instead it's just going to be like a slasher film instead of something with the emotional or mental concepts that you can understand.
Woody Harrelson seems so wrong for Cletus Cassidy.
He does. But give him a chance.
You know who
he wants to expand himself.
I would have gotten that guy who played Rorschach in Watchmen.
Oh, yeah, that's not a bad idea. Yeah, absolutely. But DeWolf, would you like me to demonstrate how you pour pure grain alcohol on top of a fire? Would you like me to demonstrate that to you? I'm going to do it. I see the chat strolling along. You guys having conversations. I don't like the Borg at all. I think that was one of the worst additions to Star Trek of all time.
Are you allowed to have that opinion?
I just had it. Grain alcohol to fire. Awesome. Oh,
you will be assimilated, Chester.
I know, right? Dinale, go ahead. This is our last story before we get into our boys chat.
All right, from Bound to Coming, DC comic writer Tim Seeley admits a major problems of the comic book industry.
What is it?
Well, it's interesting. There's just a couple little tweets here, and we'll just read those tweets and then talk about it a little bit. Tim Seeley says, well, I disagree only in that boys, ages like 10 to 17, kind of do need help getting into mainstream comics because they don't read them. We've essentially given up on them. Now, it's a simple little statement. He's not saying it full force. He's backing himself up. He's caveating himself. I mean, look, I'll disagree only in that boys. And I don't see what they were talking about before, so there's obviously something going on. But kinda do need. No, we just get rid of the kinda. Do need help getting into mainstream comics because obviously they've been completely abandoned, 100%, as well as Star Wars. Matter of fact, Kathleen Kennedy has been very, very clear that this is about making it for women, and the boys can go to hell. I mean, she's very clear. She is not lying or being or using any kind of subfrication or anything like that. She's straight up telling you, right? And he's right, of course. But here we have a Jamal. What exactly is a Jamal?
no.
Anyone know what a Jamal is?
It's a name.
Yeah, but I mean, anyone know who this Jamal is? Is he someone important or is he just a rando?
No, he's a
No.
comic book artist.
Yeah, I've seen him. He's I don't know. He's one of the main, kind of associated with the main two, but his big thing is that apparently he has some legal, like, expertise, and so he offers
Allegedly.
very.
Well, is he the one that put the anti-Jewish stuff in one of the comics and got in trouble for that? It's like an X-Men comic. Is that him?
Nah, I don't think so.
No,
Are
that's
you thinking of Sorry.
no,
Yeah.
that was someone else.
That was someone else. Okay, but anyway, he says this post was probably written by a guy. Okay, well, this is an comic book guy. All right, so he's okay. Written by a guy who doesn't know who Ramona Frandon, Jackie Orms, or Joe Duffy, Ann Nocenti, Alitha Martinez are either. Well, I would really enjoy an "or" in here somewhere. But whatever, Mr. Writer. But I don't know who any of these people are. Boys don't need support getting into mainstream comics. Well, they do, but maybe your statement should see boys shouldn't be supported into getting in mainstream comics. I think is how you're thinking, obviously, because this is a truthful statement and this is a not truthful statement. But who are these people he's claiming? What are these people?
Anyway, it's stupid.
Okay.
This is an idiotic argument because even if a woman wrote, because he seems to be pointing out like that these people are creators of some kind, but these creators could make material for boys. They just don't.
Yeah. So what's the point?
Isn't that the argument the first guy was making? Tim Seeley seems to be making the argument that boys need help to get into mainstream comics. As in, like, they're not appealing to mainstream comics anymore, right? But Jamal Igor seems to be making the argument that they're getting into the industry as creators. They seem to be having two totally different arguments here.
Maybe
I think Jamal Igor has totally missed him.
Because that's what I just said.
Well,
Yeah,
I said it better.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I think what Jamal is trying to say is women are writing things. And Tim Seeley is not talking about what women are writing. He isn't saying that men should be writing for boys. He's simply saying we should be writing for boys. Women are more than capable of doing that. That's not the statement. But this guy, I don't know, but he seems to be talking about these female comic book people, but they're completely at disparate ends of each other as far as the conversation is going. That's true.
No, what it is this guy's not. No, it's not that. He's trying to change the conversation.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he is a super lawyer after all.
Okay, fine. But it's not it is a truthful thing. We're completely abandoning boys on every front,
Absolutely,
actually.
yeah.
Wait, this is actually inane. What they're talking about are boys getting into comics. They're not talking about artists and writers who are trying to get into the industry. They're talking about people who are enjoying something. So to say that you need to help support a child, a kid, to like something, that is just preposterous. Everything's out there. They either like it or they don't like it. You don't have to push something. Is that what he's talking about? So you have to push something on people. Oh, now it all makes sense.
I would say just marketing, but I think we all understand that overall, boys are having everything taken away from them. Every single little thing is being taken away from boys, whether it be video games, comics, you name it. Whatever boys like is being stripped away because it has to be given to the women. Because we all know now this is a typical thing of a woman, and we know that the majority of women are just fine. They're not part of that 8-9% that are the absolute toxic trouble in the world today. But we all know that even a good woman cannot keep her nose out of anything. We know this. If there's something going on, they're going to come over and peek around like a curious cat trying to see what's going on. Whereas us dudes, we see the ladies hanging out, we leave them alone, let the ladies hang out, right? We don't interfere with their fun. Ladies can't handle that. They have to be involved. They have to know what's going on. And then usually when they find out, they're like, "Oh, that sucks," and they leave. right? But they have to at least stick their nose in to know what's going on. It's a very female thing to do, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. It just is what it is. But when you add this toxic politics and these toxic people on top of it, it becomes, well, what we have, right?
Yeah.
Am I going to
And
get in
comics
trouble
are
for
a
that
great
one,
medium
Booster?
for boys. I'm sorry, Doctor. Go ahead.
No, that was me. But no, continue.
Because it's a great medium for boys. Because not every boy wants to sit there and read through pages and pages and chapters and chapters of a book. Depending upon the book. But a lot of younger boys like that. They're active, but it does encourage them to read. So there's the story going on, and they're reading, and a lot of these people that are writing or used to write comics, they didn't dumb things down, and they would put some big concepts in there, some science, even social commentary. So boys are learning this through that, and so to now be pushing them away and be writing basically things against who they are. You know what they're going to do? They're just going to go back to video games and doing a headshot.
Yeah, no, it's a very good point. I mean, you guys know I'm a teacher. I've been doing it nearly 2 decades, and in my classes, it's a lot harder to get the boys to read something than the girls. It's like I don't even have to sweat it with the girls. It's the boys. I have to find something that is interesting to them to make sure that they do the homework and such, right? If I just
It's comic books. It's almost anything. I mean, I know like when I was fishing around, or when I was when I was fishing for Agent for Sins, I actually went to a convention that had like George R. R. Martin. You had to pay a certain amount of money to actually get a few minutes with him, and when I mean a few minutes, I mean like 3. And he read like my first 5 pages and said it was great, and actually put me in touch with an agent. And the agent just flat out told me, "You're a white guy. You'll never get in."
Yeah.
Wow.
It is what it
He
is.
said, "Doesn't matter how good your book is. You're a white guy. I'll never be able to get you any publication."
Yeah. Well, that's unfortunate. But Thunder kind of ends the conversation, really. Literally, Boy Scouts. Yeah. I mean, they've gone to the point that boy can no longer be used. Girls are now allowed in the Scouts, but yet the Girl Scouts is still okay and a good thing. Right. So even the simple thing of the Boy Scouts were men teaching boys, male interaction, male education, all those kind of things that are wonderful about the Boy Scouts are being torn apart because how dare they? How dare they even have something that is only for boys? How dare they? Right.
Well, you did hear the story where they got the girls into the Boy Scouts, of course, and then at some point they had some issues, so they decided to make an all-girl,
the all-girl Boy Scouts.
that were boys, yes, all-girl
Yes, I
Boy
know.
Scouts. Which I find interesting. If of course you would have a trans girl who said she was a boy that wanted in there, but
I'm
what
sure
happens
it'll
when you play
happen.
these ridiculous games. Everything gets all muddled and confused. It's all ridiculous.
Yes.
You're all weird.
Yes.
Why are you Americans so weird?
I've been
Thank
to
you.
New Zealand. I don't want to talk about weird.
Yeah. Right. But
What are you trying to? What are you trying to say, you little shit?
Someone's been triggered.
He can be triggered all he wants.
So now we go straight to the boys.
Yes,
Wow.
we are.
The boys.
Perfect. All right, here we go. Now I'm just going to put up this image while we chat about it. Of course, these are not the boys, but of course the conversation is really going to be isolating on these anyway, I think. But all right, now I've seen the series. Dinale's seen it. Booster's seen it. Who else here has seen the boys from beginning to end?
Okay, so this is like She-Ra, Robin Hood, Xena.
No, not at all. No. It's Justice League.
Falcon and the Invisible Man.
You have she, I guess, is kind of she's a little bit of side character. You got Aquaman as the guy. You got Wonder Woman. You got Superman. You got Batman. You got another Aquaman, or no, excuse me, Flash, and then you have another dude who doesn't make any sense, but he's dead anyway.
You got Snake Eyes from G.I. Joe?
No, he's
They
basically playing
branded me
Batman.
very specifically. This is that's She-Ra.
Okay, but understand this, guys. We're going to be talking about the boys, and from this point forward, spoilers.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Yes. So if you don't like spoilers, get out of the stream.
Yeah.
Get out.
Yeah, it's very clear. We're covering this very clearly. Now, First thing I want to do is go down the row of everyone who's seen it and to just give us your general opinion. Mine is very simple. I think it's the acting is stellar. Production is excellent. The special effects are used sparingly but perfectly. I think it's very, very well done. And I have nothing to complain about any of that. My complaints come in to the twisting of an already political statement that The Boys is into a completely different political statement. And I'll get into that more later, but that's my issue with it. And the issue, and I'm sitting on the fence because the issue I have with it is it enough to make me simply not like the show because all those glowing things I just said. I don't know. Booster. Your general idea,
Me?
your general opinion, yeah.
General idea. I watched this show before I read the comics. As soon as I started watching the show, I started reading the comics. I am now on volume 5.
All right.
I can get reading when I want to, yeah? And I thought the show's bloody excellent, right? I binged the damn thing within 2 days. I watched 4 episodes, so that was like 4 hours of watching a day. And I got nothing better to do. Don't judge me. And it's just a stellar show from beginning to end. As a adaptation, there are a lot of plot points that are certainly different, massively different, in fact. But what the good thing is for me is that they captured the tone, right? They captured that Garthinness and meanness and griminess for the most part, and I definitely appreciate that they didn't shy away from that because Preacher did. Preacher really chickened out with a lot of the grittiness, griminess, and all that nonsense. They went for something a lot more comedic and light toned. This was mean. It was a very, very nasty show, and I appreciate that.
Okay. How about you, Dinale?
Well, to add to that, yeah, everything that you said was true. I think the weakest part has been the actress of Starlight and the actor who portrays Huey. I think those are one of the weaker aspects of the cast. I'm pretty sure that they miscast those two characters. And I kind of see what the parallels are because you have the boys on one end and you have the seven on the other hand, and you have those two are kind of like the dual protagonists of the series. And if they're basically the heart of the show, then they're the weakest aspect, and they really should have cast two other people for those roles. Because every time they're on scene without Butch or without the sevens or the boys, I just want to fast forward through those scenes because their acting in those scenes are pretty awful. For me. I saw a couple of those political statements that I saw as well. The inversions of some characters, the race swappings of some other characters, or a lot of characters.
A lot of that, yeah.
And but I also noticed the unintentional irony that created as well. So, and I'll leave it at that until we dig a little bit deeper as well.
All right. DeWolf or Dr. Wright, you guys got any comments on it?
I haven't seen it.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not worried about it because I don't really. I don't know. Like these kind of. I'm so cynical now with any kind of like or deconstruction of superheroes that I kind of have to get spoiled before I even care, So I might check it out now because I mean I trust your, what you think of something. So I may check it and look at it. But I mean, if I were to just see this, I'd be like, oh, this just looks like a wannabe Watchmen. Okay.
Okay. DeWolf?
I haven't seen it, but do you want to hear me fake it?
Sure.
Yeah. So the problem is for me, I mean, I'm enjoying what's going on for the most part, but the problem I'm having at the moment is only part of the cast is even being used, right? You have some main characters that are being more fully developed. They get more screen time, when some of these others that actually have more nuances within their character, they're kind of being left out of scenes.
Well,
And
that's a good guess, dude. And normally you would be 100% right. It's a fair guess. In this case, that's not correct. They've actually fleshed out every character there except for Noir, and there's a reason for that, I'm sure, if they follow the comic book story. But I get you. That's a good guess, though, dude, because usually that's 100% exactly what they do. But
I definitely have my
yeah.
guesses on Black Noir, but I don't want to potentially spoil the comic for myself by asking.
Well, then then seeing as they didn't deal with him in the season 1 really at all, I won't talk about no more as far as he is in the comic books, because he's pivotal actually.
I
So
like how he's called Black Noir. His name is pretty much Black.
it is Black.
That's great.
well, I had a second point.
Yeah.
I did have a second point, and that's and that's on production value. I like to look at a lot more stuff that's going on. And so when you look at the actual scenes, the backdrop, and everything that's developed behind the characters, sometimes to me that really stands out. And I think where they're setting the scenes actually has sometimes it's a character all of its own.
Okay,
that's beautiful. Did you write book essays without reading the book to the Wolf? Because that's a talent you got there.
That's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, so let's jump into the meat of it here. The girl on the left, Starlight. I kind of agree with Dinale. I don't think her acting is that, or Huey's acting is that horrible, but I maybe would have cast someone. I think she looks good for the part. But the real problem is, like for instance, the kind of pitiful scene that happens in the comic and happens in this. In the comic book, she is this Christian girl, which they push a lot more than here. Matter of fact, they kind of step on Christianity quite hard in this series, where in the comic book that really wasn't an attacking point. She was just a good girl. The only reason it was mentioned just to express how good a girl she was, right? Because one of the first things that happens is she gets chosen to come up to the Seven, which is the Avengers. It's the Justice League. It's the big hero group, and she gets chosen to come up to fill in the position of Lamplighter, who is dead, gone, right? So she's very excited. She comes in. The first thing that happens here
he's
is
on holiday.
no, he's not. But
Wink,
once again,
wink.
I'm not going to get into the comic. But all these men here, all the guys, when she comes in to meet there, the one female is not there. But she comes in. They basically tell her straight up, you either give us all a blowjob or you're out. And then she decides to do that, right? And it comes back on her later. But in the TV show, it's just the Aqua Boy over here, standing next to her on the left. That's fine because it doesn't matter one way or the other. It is an uncool thing that they did. But even when they made it more smaller, because they didn't want to bring all the men into the same, they wanted to make these guys better. I'm going to get into that in a second, but by making it smaller with just he's the issue, right? But the thing it's about that when that scene happened and she starts complaining and making noise, and of course they make a big deal of it in the show, the Me Too thing with her. The thing my wife said, this is my wife, right, sitting here, and she says, "Yeah, but she did it." Is what my wife said, right? And it's true because she chose to. And this is the whole problem with the Me Too issue is it's not like someone put a gun to your head. This was your choice. But of course, that's one thing they changed.
You didn't have to take the fame and the money or whatever. You could have walked away.
That's right. But and of course, in the long run, that's in the end, it was what she does anyway, right? But they did minimalize that, but I understand why they minimalized it. So that's not really different from the comic per se. But what is very different, one of the things that Garth Ennis was trying to tell in that comic book, because we all know he's one of those group that don't like superheroes, and what he was trying to say in the comic book was all the heroes, because of this, we come to find out this compound V is really what makes them. They're not, I'm not going to get into that so deeply, but all these superheroes, their libidos are so cranked up, they're just on drugs, they're having sex all the time, they're just horrible, horrible, horrible people. And he's basically taken the idea of. Well, yeah, but it's also looking at the idea of celebrity and how it ruins people, right? And what they've done in the show, though, is because DeWolf's, attempt to kind of guess what was going to be is wrong, and it applies to this point, because what they wanted to do was isolate each character and give them their own character, their own value. and in doing that is why they separated them out like that. Because in general, the race swapped speedster over here, A Train, which I think he does a great job. He is simply doing some bad things because he's desperate to survive, desperate to stay in the game. But he's in general not a bad guy. But of course, in the book, he was a horrible guy. Noir, they haven't covered at all, and he's just there, which I know why. Of course, the Homelander here in the middle, I think he was perfectly cast. I think he was very well done.
He was the best part of the show, if you ask me.
Yeah, but even in his case, they backed off his level of evil, right? And he is bad, but they backed it up. He has cause. He has reason. It's just they've softened everything, and I don't think for the good. Maybe we'll have to see. But I'm kind of there's so much to get into. I don't want to keep rattling. Let me let Booster take over and kind of address what I've said already.
So, a really interesting thing about race swaps, you notice that the Deep was also race swapped, yeah?
Yes.
He was originally a black man that they turned into a white man, which I found very interesting. I was like, oh, okay, a little bit of a different race swap there. We don't really see that much, and not much of a highlight about that. But they also used him for the sexual assault. Makes you wonder if they didn't want to use the black guy for the sexual assault, right?
And that's why A Train's really not a bad guy, right? Because
Exactly.
they can't make the black person look bad, right?
We also do recall that he did laugh about killing Huey's girlfriend. That made him pretty hateable. I'm not gonna. I still found him very hateable.
Well, the other guy was making the statement, and he just kind of laughed along, though. Even though they even softened it, even there they softened it.
Yeah, fair enough.
It really does. Like, I've been in locker rooms all my life, and this just really feels like a boys' locker room that girls were let in. Because I have been in, football locker rooms where the cheerleaders came in.
Oh yeah, that's always a good day.
So just saying, kind of similar.
Yeah, no, and Dragon's making a point about having sex all the time is not to make them horrible people. Of course, that's true. But the book is just adding layers upon
to make them sound hedonistic because
they're extremely hedonistic, extremely debauched. That's the point Garth Ennis was trying to make, and they've softened that quite a bit.
I mean, the sex is just a symbol. Is all it is. It's just a hard edge.
Yeah, you're right. He did murder the girlfriend, but I'm just saying that they did soften it more so than the book is all, right? He did straight up murder her.
Murdering the girlfriend.
Yeah, he did.
No. Smother her instead of smashing her to bits. Is that what it's going on?
Well, no, I think that's two murders actually, but I think what he's not seeing is I'm not trying to say they made A Train a good guy. I'm saying that compared to the comic book, they've softened it. That's all I'm saying. He
couldn't even look in Huey's eye and say sorry.
No, he couldn't.
You know,
that's true.
Could you look in a guy's eye whose girlfriend you killed and say sorry?
Probably while I freaking cry and beg for forgiveness, maybe. But this guy was just like, it was like a chore to him, right? Having to apologize for this.
Yeah, and this is kind of the inconsistencies with the character, because they'll do those kind of moments with him, but then they'll have other ones where they're trying to endear you to him. So not the acting, but the writing for the character is inconsistent. He's a plot device. They keep using him as a plot device, where several of the other characters have actual characters. The black dude is just another plot device, and it's kind of funny to me because they scream racism all the time these days. But then again, black people in movies tend to be plot devices often. Right? They tend to use them. And it's kind of interesting to me. It's like, where exactly is the racism, right? Because if you do this and you token them, because that's what you've done here, then isn't that in itself racism? I don't know. But it is a fair point. But now Dinale is talking about Huey, which we don't see here. I'll get rid of this picture and show you a picture of Huey. You'll go to this picture for a little bit. Now, Huey is this one right here. He's the one next to Carl Urban. And let's talk about our heroes for a second. Good casting all around, I think.
Absolutely.
No race swapping, no gender swapping. Everything's exactly as it should be.
French guy was perfect.
Yeah, he was
absolutely
perfect. The female's way too old. She should have been a teenager. But I kind of understand why they didn't go that way, so it's all right. But that's an old lady. I don't know if you guys can recognize the age of an Asian, but that's a 30-year-old for sure. And then,
that's practically ancient in Asian years.
well, dude, the female should be like 12, 13, 14, something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. Yeah.
You know how old May Win is on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Oh,
my
she's
goodness.
really old. Yeah.
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 And
But I
doing a
mean,
great job.
oh, sure. But Huey is this one down right here. And Coach Dinale, you have an issue with his casting. Now, this is Meg Ryan's
Yeah.
and what's his name's son?
Dennis
Dennis Quaid, right?
Dennis Quaid. Yeah.
This is their kid. I see. I
Yeah.
didn't have much trouble with Huey. I thought he was pretty well cast. I don't think he matched Huey in the comic when it came to his interaction with women. But why didn't you like the character? Just tell me.
He didn't really incorporate what, from my point of view, what Willie really was, and from what I saw from him, I mean, he did okay when he's with Butch and the boys, and
Yeah.
he's going after the supervillains. But when he came to those emotional beats, where he's trying to fall in love with Starlight, and those romantic portion where he doesn't have that acting range yet.
They have no chemistry. You're right. And
Exactly.
he's trying to fall in love with her. I think it's the perfect way to say it. He's trying to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's trying to, and there's no way you can believe it. It's like I'm trying to, but you could see he's struggling in those scenes.
He's kind of
And it
like
just
Chuck.
doesn't-
Remember that show,
Yeah.
Chuck?
Yeah.
He's a lot like the Chuck character. And the Chuck character had a girlfriend, but he didn't really care, right? And Huey's the kind of the same way. He's just kind of like water off a duck's back. He doesn't seem to care. And of course, in the comic book, he cared quite a bit. He was deeply in love. But so that is an issue. I get that. But does that mean that it's because they're bad acting, or is it simply the writing that has made this decision?
Well, I mean, it's two parts writing, one part directing, and the other one is the acting ability as well. Because, a good actor can elevate the writing. A bad actor can lower a good writing, and kind of vice versa. For him, I think his acting is good, but it's not there yet. He doesn't have that acting range yet to be exciting, because he was kind of like a chore. His acting was a chore to look at, to be honest.
Okay. All right, I'll take that.
So, yeah.
Well, I'm going to ask Booster what he thinks on that point in a second. But one thing that did came in my mind when we were talking about the girl, Starlight, which I showed her a minute ago. It's this one right here, right? But the thing that was interesting to me was if you look at Heroes, for instance, and the girl who was chosen to play the cheerleader, right? Save the cheerleader, save the world. That actress was a cute little cheerleader body. She fit the role, but she was very believable in everything she did and how she went from what the hell's going on into taking it very seriously and fighting the good fight. It was a very good progression, a character arc with that actress. I don't know her name offhand, but she did a pretty good job, I thought. This girl is kind of trying to be the same thing, but she doesn't got them chops. This is true. What do you think, Booster?
Yeah, I thought she was fine. Yeah.
Fine.
You know what I think about Huey? I think they had to change him because they wanted the lead to be American, not Scottish. Yeah.
Maybe.
Definitely think.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
That's what came across to me, and also Simon Pegg cannot do an American accent. That was embarrassing. That was very embarrassing to watch.
We have heard worse.
I
But
love Simon Pegg. Love him. And obviously he's far too old to be playing wee Huey now, yeah?
he is. He would have been a perfect casting. You're right. And they put him in, as a father, and I think it's fine. It's a very bit part, but
was modeled after in the comics, yeah.
That's right. Yeah. But I guess the next thing I jump into, getting away from that, is one of the big things they've done in this is, first of all, they really hammered on Christianity hard. And this is like whoever wrote this is a pure hatred for Christianity. Obvious. Okay. That's a big difference because Garth Ennis didn't really use that. He simply used the vehicle of making her a Christian to kind of promote her purity so that the her acceptance to do the blowjob and stay in the team because of the want for fame. He wanted to emphasize it more as the reason why he added it. Here, the whole section with her being a Christian, she's really not much of a Christian at all, and it was just a knock on Christianity because they're all a bunch of gun-toting Nazi Trump supporters, right? That's exactly what they did with that, and that's unfortunate.
People.
Yeah, right. It's ridiculous. But another really interesting thing that happened was, you see, the boys here, they work for the government. Now, they are attached to the government, but it's not the same as it was in the book. And all of them had a certain version of Compound V in them. They don't have the superpower to fly or produce fire or anything like that. But what the Compound V does is make them super strong, super tough. Right, and they all had this. And Mother's Milk was a little bit different. I'm not going to get into it because I don't want to spoil the comic, but his situation is a little bit different. But they're all super powered, right? And Huey had the choice of taking the drug to become, in the very beginning, to become stronger. Of course, there was a chance he might not survive, but of course he did. And so Huey is super powered as well. In the TV show, they have no power whatsoever. And it changes the dynamic completely because, when you look at the Homelander, we know from the comic book that Billy Butcher here, Carl Urban, he can take him one-on-one, right? And in this situation, they're all just frail little humans. And it takes away the whole feel and concept of the comic book completely as far as I'm concerned. And I'm kind of curious if they did this for a reason, because the only one that has power is the female. Right, and she's extremely powerful, and it's like, did they make her strong to save these boys? Is this a literal SJW knock on the name of the comic itself, The Boys, by doing that? Of course, she's in The Boys. She's female, but she's in The Boys. But I'm kind of wondering if they did that intentionally just to kind of knock on these weak men, right? Because it felt that way. But
I felt it was because her powers are very intricate to her character. Right? She's the terrifying one. She's the one you don't mess with. You take away her powers, she's not very intimidating, is she?
Yeah, but you took away all these guys are terrifying in their own way.
Well,
yes.
You have to look at the whole season over, the old overview, which I was able to do. So, kind of reviewing that for Monday's show, which is here's the storyline. She had the power originally because she was part of this terrorist group that are doing superpower. As you see throughout the series, they're hinting that the company that the Seven is working for are manufacturing superhero terrorists.
That's not accurate. That's not accurate, Dinale. That's not right. That's not what happened. This was they were doing this. They were creating them. Because she was a terrorist, therefore she has combat ability. She was chosen, not because she had any ability. She was created.
No,
yeah.
Right. But I'm saying she's part of that plot line that they were introducing, sprinkling through in, which is connected to the plot line with the whole Christianity, which is connected to the A-Train debacle that begins in the beginning.
Sure.
Which he was giving Compound V to terrorist organizations for them to manufacture their own supervillain terrorists.
Right, which is Homelander's plan. It's not actually Vaught's plan. It's Homelander's plan. Yeah.
Well, I combine all of them because eventually that's where the road is going to lead to.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll say Homelander's plan different from the company Vought, which is what he's been doing, and that's what they've been going on. So that's the main through. I see that they're building up that. First, they show that, superheroes aren't born superheroes. They are made from infant. Next one, because she's part of that terrorist group plot line, shows that, adults or young kids can be given Compound V. And now, next season, I'm pretty sure Billy's going to inject himself, and then they're all going to get Compound V. Is that progression of storyline?
Probably. I had a feeling that we do that as well. I have some opinions on that, but Bush, you have anything to say?
Yeah, I was just thinking that maybe they were saving season 2 for them to get powers, and
yeah, it's probably true.
Yeah, that's about that.
Yeah. Well, the thing with it is Homelander's trying to impress. He's kind of feels like he's not trusted to do things for the Vought organization company. He wants to
Yeah.
prove that he's smart too, which is why he went out and is creating these terrorists because he wants villains to fight. But in the end, he's doing it because he wants to help Vought. Now, the way they left it at the end, he might be rebelling from them because of what he did. But I get all that, and of course, changing how she got her abilities is interesting because she's a little different as well. But
Mm.
my point being is that they so radically change these characters, how they're going to end up getting powers if they do at all. That it changes the entire dynamic of the story. For instance, for instance, he's called Mother's Milk for a reason, right? But now, the way you've done it, there's no reason for him to be called Mother's Milk at all.
It is a very weird name.
Yeah,
I
but
thought that when I was
you
reading, that's a
understand
weird
why
name.
he's called Mother's Milk, right?
I can't recall. I'm up to see volume 5. Did they explain that? Did I totally miss it, or?
Well,
Yeah, they do
I don't want
explain.
to spoil the comic, but yeah, they
Yeah.
do explain it very clearly, right?
Oh, jeez, I must have missed it.
Because Mother's Milk and female, they're special. The other three just have the government version of Compound V. But here's we could talk about this forever, but let me just give my general thing of on it. They changed, they did a lot of gender and race swapping. They did. But the thing that's more damaging, in my opinion, is they altered the story to their own devices so much, and it's like, how do you take a political statement and then twist that political statement into a new political statement? What's the point? Make the do what was done initially, or just do something unique, a new IP. So that's an issue as far as I'm concerned. I'm very happy with everything that has to do with the simple movie making of the show, but I'm not happy with the politic being put on top of it. But the big thing I'll end with, and before I let these guys give their opinions, is this: there was only 8 episodes, and I simply don't have enough to really give a true opinion. It's empty in the end. I can't even make an opinion, actually.
Definitely felt unfinished.
Yeah.
It felt like half a season, not a real full season.
Yeah, it sounded like midway mark is what it felt like,
Yeah.
right? But that's what I got
Well,
to say on it. What do you got to say, Dinale?
well, I think this was a test from Amazon before they actually commit a the full season to see how it goes. Because lately, a lot of their shows been duds, giving full season. So this is like, okay, we'll give you a chance of what can happen. Show me what you got, and they show what they got. So they got that second season order to say, okay, it's a success, and I think that's how it's going to play out for the future thing. Interesting part of it with the gender swapping is all the female bosses, the boys, deputy CIA director, the Bond's vice president,
Mallory,
and then Mallory. They're all been swapped. So and this is where I was saying earlier. Ironically, the faults are the girls. If you think about it.
Well, see, that's the interesting thing. It's always that way, though. You hear them complain and make noise all the time about stuff, but yet if you go in the movie and you watch any kind of movie, who's the one that does the stupid thing that causes the trouble? It's always a female. And you would think that
the bloody women.
It is, but you would think the women would be upset about that. They're always the one who screws stuff up, and it's like, but it doesn't anger them. They get angry about other stuff. I don't get it. There's a lot of gender swapping in this. That's for sure. But it's so well done. It is so well done. Eric Hawkins says, "Well, Butcher had laser babies, so for weapons,
hilarious.
that was cool. It was hilarious, dude. Yeah,
that freaking dolphin scene, man. That just
was great.
I was pissing myself laughing. That was so funny.
Yeah, the lobster one was cute too.
that was hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh mate, poor Dave. They turned him into an absolute joke.
Now, if you're thinking you're going to see some nice TNA in this, don't get your hopes up, because the only kind of nudity that's in this show at all is male nudity.
Dongus.
Yeah, it's
absolute dongus.
Yeah,
but the strongest. I don't.
They changed the first kill for Wee Louie. Before it was the rooster. Now it's one of
one of them.
Go ahead,
Mhm.
Booster.
I was going to say that my favorite part of this show was bloody Homelander. I
Yeah,
don't know
he
about you, but
he
I
was
thought he was
perfect.
a
He was
strong
perfect.
actor.
Yeah,
That was a New Zealand actor, by the way, just to
of
let you know.
course
Same
it
with
is.
the
Damn it.
Butcher, yes, but the Homelander, he just played the absolute best sociopath on screen, right?
Oh yeah.
Like when he had to like fake his emotions and be like, "Hey, how you doing, everyone?" Ha 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 ha, all friendly and everything. But then when he just has to channel that, just he was terrifying to watch. This was a guy
Oh, yeah.
who could snap and kill you within a second if he wanted to.
Oh no, dude. He is the threat of Superman, of course. But
Yeah.
he is that actor. The series itself is worth it just to see him. The
Yeah,
dude
yeah.
kills it, dude. He kills it. And that last
Homelander's
scene where
incredible.
he with his handler, which I won't spoil it, but that was perfection, dude.
Hmm.
That was
Wow.
beautiful.
He's
Yeah.
Well, if
just,
you, yeah,
oh,
if you
he's
want to see,
scary.
yeah, and if you want to see another show that he started and ended recently, or not so recently, is Banshee.
Banshee. Yeah, this
Hardcore,
wasn't a bad show.
a lot of yeah, a lot
Well,
of TNA in there.
the funny thing, the Banshee was more hardcore than this show, actually.
Yeah,
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
But like we were saying, this show is a good primer to give us an understanding of exactly how far Amazon's willing to go, and it's not as far as everybody else, it seems. But do you have any final comments on it, Booster?
I like it. 10 out of 10. Do
Yeah.
recommend to anyone.
You don't have any
I
complaints
loved it.
about those other things we were mentioning, these odd,
Uh,
because you haven't read the book though, is the problem.
I,
Yeah.
I read it 5 volumes. Did you not hear that part? 5 volumes.
But you're still okay with
And
everything.
the thing is just that changes don't bother me as much as other people for adaptation.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't
That's
need a
fair.
like to like adaptation to
That's
enjoy
fair.
something. Sometimes I just think, yeah, I like what they did here, but I also understand why they changed this, and I still like this. That's the kind of guy I am.
Yeah, the only change that actually bothered me, I mean, truly actually bothered me, was
Mhm.
the female being old, because her being young adds a very interesting dynamic to the situation. Because, in either case, Frenchie is doing the actor is doing the right thing. He wants to protect her because he connects with her because
Yes.
he was abused, and of course in
Yes.
the comic book he's protective of her, and that's all. It's all good, but
I love their relationship.
yeah, it
It's
is
so
beautiful.
interesting. It's a
Uh,
very you say it's sibling like?
it is.
Yeah.
But in the book, it had a little bit more of big brother or even fatherly protection of the girl, right? The female.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't like that change. I think that hurts the dynamic. And the other big dynamic change I really don't like is them not being powered. I
Yes.
really don't like it.
That was an odd change. I don't understand why that was changed. It's one of
money.
those changes that you don't really
I think it's
make sense, but
I think it's money
Yeah, but
because they
see,
have a limited budget.
yeah, but even though the CG they used was very limited, this is a drama, storytelling drama. This isn't a shoot 'em up. It's not. But the thing is, when you take away their power, you change the entire dynamic, because you know what this book is. I'm going to tell you what this book is. This is Garth Ennis. Garth Ennis's response to Frank Miller, not Frank Miller, Alan Moore. Sorry, it's his response to it. It's because Alan Moore doesn't like his superheroes either, and Garth Ennis is saying, "I'm going to do you one better." That's what this is. You ask
Mhm.
who watches the Watchmen? They watch the Watchmen. That's what they are.
Mhm.
They are the ones that watch the Watchmen. But the fact, when you take away their power, then they're no longer doing that. And they don't even have them directly connected to the government. They have them out on the run and fugitives and aside. It totally takes away the whole point that they are the ones who watch the Watchmen. And that's the biggest kill for me, dude. It's like,
Mhm.
what are you doing? Did you not understand the book? Did you somehow miss that, the people who wrote this?
It was very odd changes. I don't understand why they did it, but I felt it works in its own context, like for the show itself.
Yeah,
They
no,
made it
it
work.
does. It's sure. Like I said, it was a great show. It's just
Yeah, yeah.
it's
It
missing
is
the
an
point.
odd change, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, we said we were going to talk about the boys. We spent 30 some minutes talking about the boys. So I don't know. I suggest you go watch it. It's really really well done filmmaking. It's
Yeah.
really superior. So I suggest you go and watch it. But if you're a fan of the comics, understand they have absolutely take a big shat upon it. Understand that. Dinale, final verdict.
It's good. I'm gonna keep watching it. We'll see how this goes. And if it gets more blatant in the next season, then I'll say it's more blatant crap. But right now, I'm just gonna give it a chance. Because for the most part, all the acting was good.
It was. Yeah.
It is a concern, right? If they try to get away with more SJW crap, right? There were underlines, there were tones, right? But I didn't let them bother me. Yeah.
No.
Try not to let them bother me.
Yeah.
But they were there, especially the Me Too stuff. They dragged that on quite a bit. Really hammered you in the face with it.
They did. Yeah. Yeah. Whoever wrote those episodes really hates Christians bad, dude. Just pure hatred. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is too bad because I'm not a Christian, but why would I have any trouble with someone's religion? You go do what you're doing. You're not murdering anyone, hurting anyone. I'm all good. You have fun. Why would you
Not recently.
care? Well, I mean, just let people be. What's the problem?
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, guys. Well, thank you very much for listening. We had some news. We talked about the boys. Definitely, if any of you have any kind of opinions you want to give on the boys or anything else like that, just let us know. Come over here and contact me on my Twitter, and we'll be happy to have you on the show. This is Fan Speak after all, and we do enjoy hearing from the voice of the fans because you know what? We're fans. We're not all professionals or celebrities here. We're just normal people just like you. And we'd love for you to come in and have a chat with us. And we got a bunch of things going on during the week, of course. We have Insider, which is launched and is doing well. There's lots of articles coming out, and it's getting a lot of buzz, so that's awesome. Of course, Dr. Wright here is attached to that. And if you want to be a contributor to that, Dr. Wright, why don't you tell them how they can do that?
Well, you can get in touch with us at insidermag@gmail.com or me at Dr. Wright is in. Just give me a private DM and we'll talk about it. And being a contributor is pretty easily done. All you have to do is give us your email and then we'll set you up an account. It's all escapism, all the time, any kind. I gave up and went ahead and created TV and film and books today because a lot of people wanted it. And I have some friends that want to write about some self-published books and that kind of stuff out there. So
sure,
that's going to be coming soon. And so that's going to be good. That's going to be even more material on the page. I have actually my FemLit professor friend, feminist literature. That's what she teaches at a school in Pennsylvania. She signed up for the mailing list to get the printed book, and she signed up all of her friends, and she made her boyfriend sign up too.
Sweet. That's cool. I don't understand why there should be feminist literature and not just literature, but okay.
I mean, that is specifically the course she teaches, feminist literature, so I wouldn't be able to tell you why. But I'm just saying that it's that's the kind, that is the kind of audience that I don't think a large portion of this community would be open to, or they wouldn't, or she wouldn't be open to them.
Mm-hmm.
And she saw the site and said it was freaking cool and signed up. So
it is a cool site.
That was good.
You guys have done a really good job setting it up, dude. It looks great.
And that's what we want. We just want those people to come in and say, hey, this looks great, and these articles are cool. Let me come in. The thing that we don't do, if you want, outrage or insult, you're not going to find it inside.
Yeah.
We don't do that.
Yeah. Awesome. Thunder, if you could do me a favor and please drop that link in the chat to Insider. And of course, we've been chatting on here about the boys, so let's let DeWolf get a word in edgewise, dude. Go ahead, man.
I'll just answer one question that you had, and that is, why are they going after Christians? Because it's the same reason why they're going after the concept of heroes that are noble and have a morality, want to help people, and to drag that down. The Christian ideal, if you will, whether we are able to get there ever or not, is to try to be noble and have some righteousness with us. And it's a lofty goal. And someone who's trying to better themselves, when that's seen by someone who's not, it drives them batty. And they want to lash out at it for, whatever reason.
Projection.
And, of course, course, you have a lot of people that will see that, and now they will actually be uplifted, and they'll say, "Hey, if that person can do better, I want to do better too." But there's others that do not. They just want to continue wallowing in filth. So that's one reason why that's happening.
Yeah, it's a sad thing though, dude. I mean, I was raised a Christian. Of course, I'm in America, so you have that kind of inundates the whole culture anyway. But I was certainly raised a Christian, and I've met a lot of Christians in my life, and most of them are good people. And you know what? A lot of them were great people. I mean, truly kind people, truly believed in turning the other cheek and charity and helping people and making the world a better place, truly. And I'll tell you, I've also met a lot of atheists and agnostics, and a far, far less number of them are interested in helping anybody at all.
Mm-hmm.
So it is what it is. But anyway, guys, thank you very much. That was a lot of fun. We enjoy it. We got a bunch of stuff coming up in the week, of course. And I will let Dinale take care of that because he's about to take us out of here.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. And thank you, our panels, for joining us for Comics News Today. In 15 minutes, Blacklist Universe Drawn in Quarter Pro Edition is going to be on his channel. So hop over there, watch some artists draw in 2 hours, maybe, perhaps, whatever topic it is for today. Join us tomorrow for Comics News Today at 8 p.m. Eastern. Followed by the fan edition of Drawn Quarter at 10 p.m. Eastern. Friday's our off day. We come back Saturday at 8 p.m. with Fan Speak, and then we close it out with TFT at 8 p.m. on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And we will be talking about the Jewish tribes.
No, I thought we were talking about the Knights Templar.
Okay, the Knight Templar.
Well, let's make a decision then. Which one are we doing?
I thought both were connected. So.
Well, they are. What do you think, DeWolf? Should we do the 13 tribes first? That might be a good lead up to the Templars, and do Templars the week after. DeWolf?
Wow. I mean, yeah. I mean, chronologically speaking.
Well, and I also had a lot of commentary and DMs from people saying they're really interested in hearing us talk about the 13 tribes. I think we should do both. I'm just thinking maybe that we should do the tribes first now that he mentioned it. Because in my mind we were doing the Templars, but I think we should do the tribes first, dude.
It kind of sets a stage, and we could use it to set a stage for the Templars and their arrival in the tribal lands. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, and there's so many angles you could take on the Templars, right? It's not a singular thing. There's many ways you can come at it, and I think the tribes will give us a platform. Yeah, let's do the tribes first. We're going to do the tribes first. I think that'll give us a nice platform for the Templars. Yeah, I agree. All right, so there you go. Go ahead, Dinale.
All right. Well, then, thank you, everybody. As always, your perception shapes your reality, so always make it a good one.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Gesundheit.
Later, guys.
Aloha.